So I will read just very few pages to contextualize Melibea's work, and to illustrate what I will talk about, I have a PowerPoint with some images of the literary context in Equatorial Guinea. And a few maps as well, sorry. It is a true pleasure to share a table with Trifonia Melibea Obono here at Barnard College today, and I join you all in welcoming her to New York. I thank Abosede George for facilitating Melibea's entrance into the literary and cultural scene for the Anglophone world through her foreword to the translation of Melibea's latest novel and for organizing this event. I also thank our colleagues in the Spanish department here at Barnard, Ron Briggs, Maya Horn, and others for their participation in this roundtable today and for their efforts in expanding the Spanish canon beyond its usual geographies, incorporating Equatorial Guinean literary production in their readings, their teachings, and their events. Melibea's achievements are quite spectacular. Her latest novel, La Bastarda, first published in Spanish in September 2016 by the Madrid-based Ediciones Raras Press, is already in her second edition. The translation, published by the Feminist press earlier this year by Lawrence Schimmel and with a foreword by Abosede George, is the first book by an Equatorial Guinean female writer to be translated into English. For those of you who may be relatively unfamiliar with the geographical context, Equatorial Guinea is a relatively small country in central West Africa, a former Spanish colony which acquired its independence on October 12, 1968. It is composed of a mainland territory called Rio Muni, located between Cameroon and Gabon, and a set of Atlantic islands, Bioko, where its capital, Malabo, is located, off the coast of Nigeria, Corisco and Elobey Grande and Elobey Chico, off the coast of Gabon on the Muni estuary, and Annobon, farther south, as part of an archipelago with São Tomé and Príncipe. Its borders are the artificial result of colonial draftings and demarcations, and the social composition of the country is diverse, comprising half a dozen different ethnic groups. The Fang, numerically the majority and originating in the continental part of Rio Muni, but also extending into Gabon and Cameroon. The Combe, inhabiting the coastal areas of Rio Muni, but also extending into Cameroon and Gabon. The Benga, on the islands of Corisco and Elobey Grande and Elobey Chico. The Annobonese, from the island of Annobon. And finally, on the island of Bioko, the Bubi, which is the second largest group after the Fan, and the historical social group known as the Fernandinos. Melibea lives in the capital city of Malabo, but her family, of the Fan ethnic group, comes from the Rio Muni region, and more specifically from the cities of Ebinayon and Akurenam, respectively, not far from the border with Gabon. She teaches political sciences at the UNGE, the National University of Equatorial Guinea, and has a very active role in the cultural, literary, and activist circles of the country. She collaborates assiduously with different periodical publications, offers seminars and workshops on creative writing and feminism at the cultural centers in the country's major cities, and has an international projection with invitations from many institutions in Europe, as well as now in the United States. Her literary career and international projection has taken off in the last 3 years. In 2015, she contributed with a short story in the literary magazine Bostezo. Also in 2015, she published a short novel entitled La Negra in a collective volume edited by an also Equato-Guinean writer, Remey Sipi Mayo. The following year, in 2016, an Austrian-based press, Ediciones en Auge or Verlag, published her first novel, Herencia de Bindende. The first edition of her second novel, La Bastarda, appeared around the same time, with just a few months apart. Her third novel, La Albina del Dinero, was just released from Casa Africa Altair in Barcelona a couple of months ago, and a series of presentations of the book will follow in the next few weeks. Melibea's work reveals the vibrant creativity of Equatorial Guinean writing and its growing international recognition. It is worth noting that 3 other works by male Equato-Guinean writers have previously been translated into English. Donato Ndongo Bidiogo's novel, Shadows of Your Black Memory, published by Swan Isle Press in 2008, Justo Bolekia Boleka's book of poems, Lobelia, which came out of Resource Publications in 2015, both of them translated by Michael Ugarte, and Juan Tomás Ávila Laurel's novel, By Night, the Mountain Borns, translated by Jethro Soutar for And Other Stories Press, which came out in 2014. The new translation of La Bastarda marks an important new stage in this movement, therefore. Melibea has been preceded on the Equato-Guinean literary scene by several other significant female writers. The first of them was Raquel Ilombe del Pozo Epita, who in the late 70s and early 80s, she died prematurely in 1992, published an important poetry book called Ceiba, and a collection of short stories based on oral narrative traditions entitled Leyendas Guineanas. A second, previously unpublished poetry manuscript by Raquel Ilombe recently appeared under the title of Ceiba II. The first and foundational novel published by a woman in Equatorial Guinea was Ekomo by Maria Nsue Angwe. Ekomo was published in 1984 and has been reprinted a couple of times and has also been translated into French. Maria Nsue Angwe, of the Fang ethnic group, like Melibea, is also the author of Relatos and Cuentos y Relatos, as well as numerous unpublished manuscripts that she left behind when she passed away last year on January 19, 2017. Melibea joins a relatively small but dynamic cohort of younger writers, creative artists, and activists in Equatorial Guinea, some of them having achieved considerable prominence outside their country. A few, like Melibea, live in Equatorial Guinea itself, while others are part of the Guinean diaspora and write and publish from Spain or from a variety of other countries. Among them are Guillermina Mecui, Lucia Asue Mbomio, Victoria Evita Ica, Ángela Ensambi, Remey Sipi Mayo, Paloma del Sol, Alejandra Entutumu, or Lydia Mba. Melibea and all these other young writers have erupted in the cultural scene in Equatorial Guinea, infusing an energy ready to challenge gender, social, and ethnic conventions. They dialogue with other voices in the African continent and beyond on issues such as feminism, the dilemmas of modernization versus tradition, and on inherited notions of citizenship and belonging. And I will not go into the themes of her novel because that will come out of the questions that we will follow up with now.